Hey guys, this is Ashley, Crafty Ashley. Today we will be remaking a squishy for my sister for her birthday. No idea what I'm doing with my hands here, but anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So this squishy I found at Walmart. It was like $5. Yeah, I thought it was very bland, very bright and colorful, which was a plus, but other than that, it was just kind of there. It didn't really have the look that I wanted, so I decided I was going to make it over. I'm now trying to open up the package. Had to bring out the scissors. Now this is a soft and slow rising squishy, so that means whenever you push it, it like rises up very slowly. It's very soft, which I think she'll like. Now it did have this weird like sticker thing on the front, but we'll get to that later. This is just me squishing it. Oh, so much fun. Squish, squish. Also, if you hear dog tags in the background, that would be my dog. She's very needy, so you'll just have to excuse that. Anyways, yeah, I'm just showing you guys the squishy itself, and then we'll cut to where I have it standing up on a black box so you can get a better view of it. Just turning it around, you know. The blue was very bright. The pink was very awful. You can't really tell on camera, but it was so bright it hurt my eyes. I'm not sure what they did, but it's definitely more of a purpley pink. Anyways, here's me attempting to take off the plastic face. It was like this weird film they had put on the squishies, on the squishy, if I can speak. I had to use tweezers to get it started before peeling it off. It was very sticky. It got all over the place. I did not like it. Eventually got to the point where I couldn't take it off anymore. So I had to actually sand off the rest, which becomes an issue later, but we'll get to that when we get there. Anyways, I'm just cleaning up my station before deciding, hey, this is a squishy for my sister's birthday. I kind of want to add a candle. So you'll see where I pointed out where I'm going to put the candle. This idea actually failed really, really badly. So I cut most of this out just because it had failed. But I had thought, you know, why not use those foam paintbrushes since I couldn't find a foam pillow, or, you know, I didn't think to use a makeup sponge. But these foam brushes, they're kind of squishy, right? So that would work. So you see me attempting to take one off of the handle, which I do eventually get it off, and it makes a nice, satisfying, like, pop feeling once I finally get it off. But yeah, I didn't think, you know, that the paintbrush would soak up the paint. Not sure why that didn't cross my mind whenever I first thought of it, but you know, we all learn from our mistakes. Anyways, so you see me just throwing out the handle. Don't need it anymore. And then I'm looking at the thing. Yeah, I tore a hole in it. Imagine that. That's the dog hair. There you go. So I decide to cut a section of it off. Now I did later pull up a reference picture for a birthday candle. You'll see when I do that. And so I'm just trimming it up, trying my best to get the shape that I want. Of course, this all kind of goes down the toilet when I decide, hey, it actually didn't work. But, you know, I went on Amazon and bought an actual thing of foam, so for in the future, whenever I make over some squishies, if I decide, hey, I want to add something, I've now got the right materials. This was a very big learning process for me. I personally am a fan of Moriah Elizabeth, so I was referencing a lot of her videos and just trying my best to do the best I could. Because, you know, I want to be good at everything. But, you know, practice makes perfect, so I decided to post this video anyways because you need to learn from mistakes, you know? Anyways, so you see me trying to clean all that foam up. It got everywhere. So much to the point that my dog decided she wanted to chew on it. So that was fun. Anyways, yep. Get that little piece, Ashley. Yep. That's what you're going to focus on. Now some of these videos are a little bit out of frame. I was trying my best to keep it in frame for most of the time, but because I don't have the best quality of camera yet, you know, it's kind of difficult to see what I'm doing and also make sure everything's in frame. Oh, here's me sanding the squishy, trying to sand off the rest of that face. When sanding, I noticed that the pink purpley paint that I had said earlier was going to be an issue started coming off. So it's really truly a blue squishy that they just kind of put this weird paint over top, which was interesting. Yep, here's me fusing the thing on, and then I decide, nope, don't like that. So then I remove the candle. Now this squishy went through a lot. It had a hole put in it to try and squish the candle down in that way. And then eventually I just chopped off the other like strawberry. I think it was a strawberry. Not sure. Also got a lower grade of sandpaper. So how sandpaper works is the higher the grade, the finer the sandpaper, the lower the grade, the coarser the sandpaper. And I really needed a more coarse sandpaper. So I went out and got a lower grade. Now I will say with this project I should have sanded a lot more than what I did. But you know, again, learning process. We'll see what that did to the paint job later. But here you see I'm scraping, sanding, trying to make a nice texture for the paint to stick to. As you can see, I'm trimming. Also trimmed up the edges a little bit. It had a really weird edge on the bottom. I don't know why, but it did. So I trimmed that off. Yeah, so I sanded. And I was like, hey, yeah, that seems good. Was very impatient. Didn't really give it as much time as I should have to dry in between the things, as well as take as much time / patience to sand the thing properly. But you know. Anyways, here I am applying some slick paint. I got white, because why not? And yep, just squeezing it on there. And then I'm using a popsicle stick just to get the first layer down. I went over the places that had, where I'd cut it open, revealed the flesh of the squishy. And then I decided, hey, you know what, I'm just going to cover the entire thing in slick paint. Which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea. But you know. You live and you learn. So there's my finished slick painted squishy. This of course is not a finished squishy. I would never send this to someone. Here's where I realized while editing that was my first issue. As you can tell, the side with the blue and the purple have bulged up a little bit, which means air got trapped. I think it's from the hole itself as I rub my finger over it. So we'll get to that later. Anyways, so I got some fabric paint. It was just a 10-pack at Walmart. I think it was 10. Yeah, 5, that's 10. Had lots of colors and white, which was nice. Now, in the future, I might try and invest in some of the matte paint, because this stuff was a little bit liquidy. I later mix it with the slick paint, and that seemed to help with the consistency. But you'll see me start painting the entire squishy in a base white because I wanted the cake itself to be white. And I was like, I want to put pastels on it, so let's make the entire thing white. This proved to be actually more of a problem than, you know, helpful. Because, again, I did not add a thicker paint to the original fabric paint, which was a little bit watery, a little bit too liquidy. So it didn't really go on as smooth. Also, that pink and purple, whatever color, was the hardest to cover up just because it was so bright. So it's, haunting still, even to this stage. Now, the weird thing about this cake is the contours of it. It was very odd. So I had laid it down to dry, not thinking, wet paint will stick to paper. And it peeled off some of the paint. So then I decide, finally get the smart idea to mix the two paints. Slick with the fabric. So I glob it on to fix my mistake where the paint had peeled up, which also probably means that I did not sand it as much as I should have. But again, you live and you learn. So there I am, painting over my mistake, careful not to move it. I also gave it plenty of time to dry this time. And then I'm just going back over some of the other spots that probably weren't as wide as they should have been. But yeah. Now the contours of this cake was kind of weird to get into, which, was a nice part of the squishy and the molding itself and the sculpting. But it made it difficult to kind of paint, per se. Now, I had actually set this up on the plate to dry, which helped. We'll probably be using that in the future. There I am showing off my perfectly white squishy. Now, you'll see here where the issue had become with the air bubble. The paint hadn't stuck to that part of the whipped cream area, which means I did not sand it down as much as I should have. Yeah, there I am, just really squishing it. Don't know why I decided to do this there. Now, it took forever to get reinflated because it's that soft and slow stuff. And then, of course, the paint, it wasn't fully dry, so it made it a little bit sticky. I eventually poke a hole in it, in that air bubble, to help. But, yep, you live and you learn. Now, the icing, I wanted to make a very pastel-y, lilac-y purple, because purple's my sister's favorite color, so, purple icing makes sense in my mind. So, I decided to make my own purple, mix my own purple. There you see I'm doing that purple. My dog's deciding she wants to scratch up the carpet. I decided to add some slick paint, actually be smart. There I am mixing it. Now the first mixture was just a little bit too pale, so I decided to add a little bit more purple, which made it a little bit watery, but that's okay. Yeah. Now I had mixed up too much and I didn't have any of those plastic cups to save this mixture with, but it's okay. So I decided to get out a smaller brush, which I'm going to show you. There it is. To start painting on the purple. Now, I wanted the purple icing to go in between the different cake layers. So I first started painting on a very thin layer, and then I go back and just thicken it up some more. Now, one cool thing about this paint is while it's still wet, you can wipe it off, which is kind of cool. It's like a magic eraser. Like your finger's a magic eraser. Anyways, enough of my weird comments. So I decided to paint the entire thing, just one coat of the purple. It looks a little bit streaky in the video, but it's not in real life, which was weird. Also in real life, it was definitely more purple, but you know how the camera angles and the lighting affects things. But yeah, so I'm just painting the entire thing purple, and then I'm going back in on the whipped cream topping to define the different details, circles, dollops, however you want to say it, with the purple, just to, make it look a little bit more realistic. Now, it's not going to be too realistic, but, I want it to be a little bit realistic. Now it's sprinkle time. So this is where I start mixing the sprinkle colors. I move the cake carefully out because it's still kind of wet. But I knew while I was mixing the sprinkle colors, it would have plenty of time to dry. So here I go. I start with 6 things of white slick paint, and then I go in with each color. Very simple. Yeah. Now, in hindsight, I probably should have just used the purple I'd used for the icing, but you know, I love to waste paint. I just love it. So I'm just mixing each one with a popsicle stick. The blue was still a little bit too dark, so I go back in and I add some white to try and lighten it up. And then I do the purple. There's the finished sprinkles colors. Now I painted these sprinkles on, and of course I'm following in Mariah's footsteps. I'm going to have sexy sprinkle music, especially when I'm painting it on because it's very satisfying. So here's the music. We'll slow it down just a bit too. Alright, now speed it up. So I just go in with each color. I wipe off the brush in between. I don't really wash it. I go from lightest to darkest. And then I flip it over, do the same on the other side. Yeah, we're going to go super fast. Anyways, so, and then I move down to the bottom. I have to hold it really weirdly, just get a good grip. And then I slowly start to go out of frame. So much so that you can't see what I'm doing to what was the strawberry. It is now a sprinkle ball. I imagine like one of those things of like hard whipped cream that you just dip in sprinkles. Anyways, so here's a side-by-side of a before and after. So you can see where the face was. It's not there anymore. The squish isn't as satisfying, but it is very pretty. You just gotta be careful when squishing it because of the air bubble I had. But that's okay. Anyways, that's kind of the video for this week. I will be back next week. I will upload on every Wednesday that I can. I'm going to try and be like 2 weeks in advance. But if you have any suggestions or comments, please leave it down in the comment section. I will try my best to read them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll get my next post. But see you guys later. Bye.